Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Kensington, Orion. We're so glad you're joining us here on this first Sunday in December. Christmas 3 weeks away, right? Can you believe it? It's coming like crazy. But today we get to celebrate with some young people who are going to sing and dance and share an incredible message with us about what it looks like to walk a different way, in a different direction, and maybe what God is calling us to do, I think, every day in this world. My name is Ryan Morrill. I'm our Kids and Family Director. I get to share a little bit of a message on the stage as well. So looking forward to being with you today. We're so glad you're here. Enjoy the service over the next hour, and we'll catch you soon.
Okay. I see what's happening here. You face to face with greatness and the change. You don't even know how you feel. It's adorable. Well, it's nice to see as the grown-ups never change. Open your eyes, let's click in. Yes, it's only us, Kaleo, breathe it in. We know it's a laugh, the songs, the dance. When you say that, look at it. What can we say is that you're welcome with the magic of wonder and glow. Hey, it's okay, you're welcome. We're not your ordinary on control. Hey, what to see from the window of the next shot? Standing in the spotlight, the sky turns the heart of stone by simple song into your love. Looking at him, yo. Oh, listen to all the applause. You're welcome. The audience is here and there now. As they see chess, heads galore. You're welcome. Swing it here now, stop, get a roar. What can we say except you're welcome? For the magic of wonder and glow. Hey, it's okay, you're welcome. We're not your ordinary on control. You're welcome. Welcome to the adults as they begin. We knocked off an avenue. The song, the dance, sausage making the comment. We came on stage, we took a bath. Didn't scratch words and made us say, well, what's less? Was the check away and the set? One the book away. Let's pop my hair in the stage. Sing a truth to our face. Cast the other and shadow. They Jeopardy top. Hey, 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 hey. Well, anyway, let us say you're welcome for the wonderful show you know. Hey, it's okay, you're welcome. We'll learn to think of it, we gotta go.
one more time. How about you guys take one other bow? Take another big bow. All right. Yeah. That's great. Did you guys know that you were going to come to church today and hear Moana? You're welcome for that. Get it? You guys can head off stage right now. We'll see a little bit more from them later. Good afternoon. Oh, wow, you guys. Someone had a couple too many bagels out there. Good afternoon. All right, that's better. Hi, I'm Marin, and I'm the Kaleo Kids Director here at Orion campus. And we just want to welcome you here today. We're so glad that you made it. How many out there are here because you are supporting one of the kids who's on the stage? All right, I love it. That's great. So if you're new here or this is your first time and you want a little bit more information about Kensington, we would love for you to go out in the lobby to the hub. They're wearing orange shirts out there. They'll answer any questions that you have. And if it is your first day, you'll get a nice special little gift. So make sure that you make your way out to the hub before you leave today. So Kaleo is in the house. Are you pumped? Me too. I love it. If you don't know what that is, that's our performing arts program for kindergarten through 5th grade. We meet every Wednesday and the kids learn music, dance, drama, worship. It's absolutely amazing. It's at 6:30 back there. And if you missed out this session, our next session is going to be January 30th. So if you or someone you know or your child hasn't participated and you think that they would benefit from it, which is all of them, we would love for you to register. Registration is open if you go to kensingtonchurch.org/Kaleo. So we hope to see you there. If you register now in the next couple of weeks, you get a little bit of a discount. So register early. Spots will be filling up quickly. Christmas is right around the corner. Are you guys ready? Oh, you sound super ready. Who's done all their shopping? All right, yes. I see a lot of people shaking their heads. Who's gonna wait until December 22nd to order everything on Amazon Prime? Me too, man, I'm with you. Sorry, Mom. That's great. Well, we would love for you to make Kensington part of your Christmas experience. We have some awesome services on Christmas Eve here that you can come check out. We have some great stuff in store. You can get tickets. They're absolutely free online if you go to kensingtonchurch.org/Christmas. And like I said, they're totally free. It's going to be great. We ask that you do that to reserve your spots because across all campuses, we're expecting to have between 45 to 50,000 people all across them. So just reserve your seats because they do fill up fast. So go online, get your tickets, and then we're going to show you a little quick video to get you in the Christmas spirit.
2,000 years ago, there was a king who was strong, mighty, and wealthier than any other king in the land. His kingdom was placed on top of a mountain where the rest of the world was overshadowed by his power. But to the king's dismay, another king entered the world. Jesus, baby Jesus that is, came to earth. There were angels singing and even a giant star in the sky. But was it a big, shiny, and beautiful entry? Let's discover the large, life-changing truths hidden in the Christmas story.
That was awesome. So make sure you get your Christmas tickets. Yeah. So today we're kicking off the first of a 3-week series called Backwards Way. And I could stand up here and tell you what it's all about, but I think the kids would do a way better job of that. Don't you guys agree? So we need like one more like really big welcome from you guys. So let's hear it. Yeah, all right. You have the most energy of all the services. I love it. So before we begin, just stand up, shake somebody's hand, and tell them what your favorite Christmas song is.
Determination, Dedication and destination? No, that doesn't make sense. Desensitization? No, I don't know what that means. Deliberation, that means thinking right. Yes, perfect. Deliberation. And that's why I should be the next class president. Oh, hey everyone, I'm really glad you're here because today is really important. The most important day of my life, probably. Today, our class is voting for the next class president. I am what they call a total shoo-in. Because you see, this is me. And I'm really smart. No, not that smart. I haven't graduated yet. Anyway, I'm a great older sister. I usually get picked to be the teacher's helper. Not because I'm the teacher's pet or anything, I just pay attention and I know what to do. And actually, let's be honest, I am the teacher's pet. I usually get extra time on the iPads because I finish my work first. I get the best spot in the beanbags and during quiet reading. At recess, I usually get the only hula hoop that isn't out of shape. And I'm popular. I'm friends with pretty much everybody in my class, and the other 5th grade classes too. I show dedication, determination, and deliberation. Let me tell you about me. And I'm always first. Let me tell you about me. I'm not trying to brag. I guess I am. I make a great class president. I got world-class skills, first-place thrills, and everyone's my friend.
Chauffeurs, hors d'oeuvres, my mom bends to my will. I gotta live in me, got the bills so neat, and my juice box never spilled.
Let me tell you about me. Let me tell you about me. Mine, yo, me. Let me tell you about me. I'm the best. I get A's on all my tests. I got 10 gold stars eating candy bars, so they call me the teacher's pet. Me, my, yo, me. Me, my, yo, me.
In the morning, it's me. I'm the rat school front seat. So popular, no stopping her, no other kids compete.
Let me tell you about me. Let me tell you about me. Let me tell you about me, my, yo, me. Let me tell you about me, my, yo, me. Let me tell you about me. I'm the best. I get A's on all my tests. I'm first in line, yeah, the world is mine, and I know you're all impressed. Me, my, yo, me. Wait! Freeze! What is going on here? You're a mess. I'm a mess. Okay, there has been a big mistake or something. Because this is not how I normally look. This could not be happening. Not today of all days. It's election day. How did I end up like this?
Well, Ken, it's had a bit of a backwards day.
What is it? Whoa, who are you?
Your fairy godmother.
Obviously. So this is your fault?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Right. Okay, so do you mind telling me what happened?
Sure. You see, things went backwards right from the start. You see your clock?
What?
Yeah, so it didn't quite ring when it was supposed to. You were the last to wake up.
I'm never last.
And for some reason, you could only walk backwards.
Backwards. What on earth?
And your sister, she decides to take her time in the bathroom.
Oh, wouldn't she just?
And your mom, she was already calling for you kids to get breakfast. You got the last waffle.
Please tell me I didn't go to school looking like that.
You did. And in the car, you had to sit all the way in the back.
I hate the back.
Don't we all?
Well, that's just not fair. Who's that?
That's Harry. Your neighbor Harry. Ring a bell?
No.
Your mom's been having him to school with us this year. He's been in your same class since kindergarten. You really don't remember him?
No.
Well, let's see why that is. Who had to sit in the back yesterday? I see. And what about the day before that? And the day before that? And what about...
Okay, I get it. I don't have to sit in the back a lot.
Hardly ever. The last time you sat in the back was 14 months, 8 weeks, and 3 hours ago. To be exact.
Well, I'm the oldest, so I...
You deserve to sit in the front. Is that what you're going to say?
It doesn't sound very fair when I say it out loud.
That, kid, is because it's not. That means you have never noticed Harry.
Yeah, that's pretty bad, isn't it?
It's not good for sure, but don't worry. The day gets better.
It does?
Yeah, I mean, a few weird looks from people when you walked in backwards, but you're sort of getting the hang of it by them. Though, during math, you kept on getting the answers all mixed up. Adding when you're supposed to be subtracting, and the other way around. And lunch was a little messier than usual. And art, let's just say how it was. It was a disaster.
I'm sorry. You said it got better. You told me it got better. Please tell me when it gets better.
Hold your horse heads. We're getting there. And that quiet reading, you didn't get the beanbag.
But I always get a beanbag.
Always. Really? Look who got it today.
Harry, I don't get it. I always have my book ready and Wow, he's really excited to be there.
Sure is. No, Harry's been having a really rough day up to that point.
He was?
Mm-hmm. A bad week. A bad year, really. See, Harry has to worry about stuff that he shouldn't have to.
Oh, I never knew.
You should ask him about it sometime. He might surprise you.
Okay, maybe I will. So is this where my day starts to get better?
Not quite yet. You see, next was the spelling test.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Everything I do doesn't seem to be the way that I'm used to. Messed up and upside down. Say however you want to. If I had one word to describe my day, it would be awful. That's L-U-F-W-A. Look what doesn't seem to be the way that I'm used to.
Loofah? That's not what I was trying to spell.
Really?
I'm having a backwards day. This has been the worst day ever. True. Come here, let's hug it out. Yeah. Too much? Oh, okay. But don't worry, it's just about to get better. About time. Harry again? How is he gonna make my day better? Come on, Annabelle, give him a chance. What's he saying? I'm not too good on accents, so bear with me. Hey, Annabelle, what you doing? Oh, nothing. Still bummed over that spelling test? Sure, I guess. That is not how I talk. I am doing my best. I was kind of noticed he was having a rough day. You could say that. Hey, my picture. He fixed it. Why is he being so nice to me? You see, Harry knows something that probably most adults will never learn. What's that? Well, it's kind of backwards until you really think about it. But the greatest people in the world are the helpers. And they may not get gold star badges or elected president, but they look who's around them, and they help. The helpers, huh? All right, this is where I leave you. Here? Now? Can't you fix this? Nope, I've done what I can. It's entirely up to you now. To do what? That, 'cause it's entirely up to you now. All right, it's go time. Pew pew! Thanks. For what? For showing me all this. You know, I always thought it was a good thing that I was the first, the best at everything. But maybe I think it's a little backwards. Sure thing, kid. You know, it's never too late to turn things around. Hey, I'm not looking backwards any. Huh. I can take it from here. There are 3 qualities every president should have. Actually, I'm not so sure what qualities a president should have. But I know what I wrote in this speech isn't the answer. Because until today, I had everything backwards. I think a president should be someone who sees people around them, who knows their names and what's going on in their lives. They should set a good example, but not by being the first or the best at everything, but by being kind, being a helper. That's why I think Harry should be our next class president instead of me. Thank you. I guess I had it all wrong. So focused on me that I couldn't see what's actually going on. Spent all of my time to get first in line. Now I realize don't waste your time, baby, on things that make it hard to love, love, love.
I used to think a winner was all I really had to be. To make my family proud, to make something out of me. there until I climbed that tree. We all wanna be first, I don't doubt it. Sometimes it's the worst part of me. My apologies. I guess I had it all wrong. So focused on me that I couldn't see what's actually going on. Spent all of my time to get first in line. Now I realize don't waste your time, baby, on things that make it hard to love, love, love. We all wanna be first, I don't doubt it. Sometimes it's the worst part of me. My apologies. Don't waste your time, baby, on things that make it hard to love, love, love.
Excellent job, boys and girls. Give it up one more time for these wonderful kiddos. These are all, you guys, 4th and 5th graders. It's all 4th and 5th up here right now, right? Pretty much? Yeah, 2nd and 3rd graders and kindergarten, 1st graders. They'll all be back out here at the end. But thank you so much for giving us a picture of God's kingdom and the way he moves in this world. Sometimes we think it's in a certain direction, but he has a different plan for so many of us, and I think many of us even in this room today. So thank you so much. You guys can head backstage, and you'll be back out in just a little bit. Awesome job, guys. Appreciate it. One more time. Give it up for them. Well, good afternoon. My name is Ryan Morrill. I'm our Kids and Family Director. And if you're here visiting today, I'm sure many of you are, to see one or several of these children, we welcome you here to Kensington. This is a special day for us. And it's so great because it gives a voice and a vision to the next generation of what they are capable of doing. And that God uses all of us, no matter where we're at on the spectrum, young or old, to impact his world. What's really cool too is not only are they impacting our hearts as they do this today, it's impacting their lives as well, as they are hearing and growing with God as they go through this experience. 3 months worth of practice every Wednesday night to be here. I think Marion might have said that before. But what's really neat too is what's taking place here at Kensington. All of the things that take place, your partnership in that fuels exactly even what you just experienced right here on this stage. It doesn't just happen by itself. And so we wanted to give you a glimpse of the impact that's happening specifically in one young girl's life as she has gotten involved with this program, and how we're all playing a role with that. And Steve Andrews is going to fill us in a little bit more on the bigger picture of how we are all helping to make that happen. So watch this, and as that's taking place too, our ushers are going to bring by just a wonderful brochure that you get to keep, with pictures and things that are happening throughout all of Kensington, including right here with Kaleo. So watch and enjoy this.
Trin, I've known you for quite a long time now. You've been doing Kaleo with us for years. When did you start? You were in what grade?
4th grade.
And what was that performance? You remember?
It was Turkey Trot. It was Thanksgiving performance, trot. Yes.
What was your first time doing Kaleo like?
I was obviously a little nervous, but when I heard that I got the singing solo, I was like, what? There's no way, I got it. And I was so excited for it. I remember going on stage and not feeling nervous at all, just feeling super comfortable on the stage, even though there was so many people in the crowd, and I was like, this is so fun, and I just had fun with it.
Come on, let's turkey trot. Let's get it while it's hot. This dance is really fun.
I don't think there was any pressure of being perfect. I don't think I felt any of that. It was just more of a fun time for me to express what I love doing.
You know, you mentioned that when you came, you just kind of felt comfortable. Can you talk about what Kaleo is like as far as feeling like you belong, the community part of it?
Yes. I think Kaleo the cool thing about it is it's not just like singing, dancing, or acting. It's like a community. It's not a camp. It's more of like a family, I would say, because the main focus of Kaleo is, well, one, to make kids feel special and know that they are loved and that they have a place, like they have a voice. And so I feel like Kaleo brings that out of people through singing and dancing and acting, which is so special, and there's nothing like that. There's 3 rules with Kaleo. It's just be respectful, listen, and have fun. And those 3 things definitely came across when they were teaching us stuff. And I think the fun part of it was very important, because I think sometimes at school and at home, there's that pressure on us to like do well in this and be the best in this. But at Kaleo, it was just like to have fun and be with your friends. And it was really just doing the best that you can, but not making it perfect, just having fun with it.
When you come to Kaleo, it's for elementary school kids, and they get to do music, dance, and drama, as well as the community time. What is the community time like?
Community time is this short amount of time that we all come together and someone's teaching a lesson in a really, really fun way. Sometimes there's a game, and we always have a memory verse with hand motions that the kids can do. And it's a time for all of us to come together and just learn how they are as an individual and as a child of God.
Okay, so what are your favorite memories in Kaleo over the years?
Brazil was one of them. We got to go to Brazil together, and I think I was in 8th grade. It was my first time going outside of the country. I think it was really cool to see how even kids outside of the US still respond to music and singing the same way. The heart of Kaleo was still there and still present, and we got to share that with the kids.
So one of the new things we started doing with Kaleo is creating school partnerships so that we can take Kaleo outside of Kensington and out into the local schools. So the word Kaleo means to invite. So what does that mean to you? How have you seen that played out?
It gives a chance for kids who are kind of in the area but don't have that access to music and the arts. I've just witnessed so many people creating new friendships because of how we're inviting people together.
One of the things we value in Kaleo, obviously, is leadership and drawing that out in children so that they can see themselves as a leader among their peers at school or in their families or neighborhoods. Is that something that you feel you got from this program?
Yes, for sure. I think, because I was only in Kaleo for 2 years, and I was really involved with it after being a K crew and now being a teacher. I think my leadership skills definitely started in Kaleo, because I remember the impact it made on me and how much I enjoyed it. And I remember the teachers and how they taught, and I was that I want to do that for kids. And so I think that's why I'm so invested in the program. I'm still with it now, and it's cool to build these relationships with these kids, because it's I've seen them grow now, how you've seen me. And so that's just the really cool part about it. I just want to give back how it's impacted me.
This remarkable arts Jesus movement has taken place in the lives of kids. It's grown from Kensington campuses into under-resourced communities and elementary schools all over the area, and starting to expand even beyond that. And everywhere you see it happening, it's like Jesus is alive. He's alive in the lives of people, adults that are leading, kids that are learning, kids that are doing far more than they ever imagined that they can do.
Yeah, it's crazy as a teacher to see someone start, at that age of 8 or 9, and be surprised at this beautiful voice and this, kind, pleasant person, but then start to see this leader, coming out of you.
Yeah.
And to be able to be a part of that journey and give you those opportunities. I've just seen your responsibility grow and your communication when you're teaching. And it's just been so fun just to see every opportunity you're given, you just kind of take it and are so beyond your years because you really do embrace each moment. So it's fun to see.
I don't know if there's ever been a time where the next generation is longing more for a deeper blessing. Like to know that their identity is not rooted in superficial things like fashion or temporary achievements, but that their worth is really planted in the nature of God's love and Jesus Christ's care for them. And so when I see a whole army of Kensington people pouring into the lives of the next generation, it gives me hope that people will know they're valued, and not only that they're valued, but that they're going to pass that value on to generation upon generation. So when you make a year-end Christmas gift to Kensington, you have an opportunity to pass something on of substance to the next generation that cultural trends can't take away, superficial promises can't rob you from, but it's a gift to say, no, you're valuable because Jesus Christ is alive. He loves you, and he's made you a person with great potential and great value. And so you learn that and you know that, and then you give that to the next generation. Let's invest to see God do that in generations to come.
What I love as I watch that, and I'm blown away as you see the smile and the energy and the joy that that young woman has as she's using her God-given gift and she's found her calling and maybe what she was created for to do in this world. And she's moved now from just being a participant to a mentor to other people. And that is so much of what Kensington is about. It's not about just reaching the people inside of these walls and just making people feel comfortable, but it's about changing lives one person at a time, transforming one person, even, and hopefully hundreds of thousands of others with the life-changing good news of who Jesus Christ is. And so as we near year end, and just following what Steve said, I mean, this is one small glimpse of where your generosity goes to what's happening to impact the lives of these children, and they are taking it out in a magnificent way. There's hundreds of other things that are happening in here. I've been involved with carrying and leading the next generation now for really 25, 30 years of my life now. Since I was even in high school, this became a passion for me. And I'm so encouraged to be a part of this place, and it stirs my heart and makes me want to keep going and doing this because of the shared passion and mission here. There's something in here for you as well, I'm sure, that stirs you, and I hope you take time to look through this. And as you are considering making a year-end gift, we ask you to think about and make one here to Kensington Church. Because it's doing so much. There's many separate ways or different ways to give. It's listed up here. You can go in your browser, kensingtonchurch.org/gift. It'll take you right to the screen. You can also give on our Kensington app. Many of you have that as well. You can always write a check and put Christmas in the memo. And finally, you can just even text the simple word Kensington Christmas to 77977. And thank you so much for being on the journey with us. If you've been a part of this, if you made a year-end gift, thank you so much. And if you're considering making one, thanks for being on board this. What's going to happen now is our ushers are actually going to come forward, and we're going to take our offering. And this is a chance to give back, to live as these children talked about. And I'm going to share just for a few minutes about living life a little differently. And so much of our world is about forward and more and more. And sometimes when we stop and we think about what is Jesus calling us to do, at first it seems backwards, but there's a whole nother plan that he has for that. So if you're visiting, you can let it pass on by, no pressure to, but we hope that you start to see and let God change you and move you in different directions as well, maybe for the first time this holiday season. So as we jump in, the children obviously took us on a journey of a backwards day. And there's nothing like having to go backwards. Actually, probably a very frustrating feeling, even though you experienced it through Kinsey up here, who is our lead actress. But to have to go backwards in life is not fun. How many of us have left our house, probably even in the last week, where you're halfway down the road or you're almost to work or even school, and you realize you forgot that one thing you really were supposed to bring with you? And how many of you turned around because you left your phone in your house? It's crazy how we can't even function anymore without our phones, and we will go back and get those and be late for everything else in life because we need to have this little computer with us all day long. And God help us, for those of us that have ever gone on a road trip, and I'm sure this happened to all of us, whether you're just, again, a few miles down the road or you're several hours down the road, and all of a sudden that deep sinking feeling comes over in your belly where you're like, oh my goodness, I forgot this one thing in my life. And you have to wrestle with that idea, that question of, do we go back and take care of it, or do we try to figure out how to get by without it? And several times, even if you're close enough, I'm sure you'll turn around and go back and take care of that one thing that you need to take care of. Now, that's actually turning around and going back. But question for many of you is, I wonder, have any of you ever literally had to physically drive backwards in your car, literally moving backwards through the streets around your neighborhood or your house for not just a little short distance? We're not talking backing up, but over a greater distance, because that's something I had to do just a few years ago. I was getting into my car to go to Spring Hill Camps. I was going to be speaking up there to our youth several years ago, and I get in my car to leave my driveway, and I all of a sudden realized I forgot something, and I backed up, and I left my car on the street, and I ran into my house, and I grabbed it. I come back out to my car, and I go to shift it into drive, and it won't do anything. I literally get into drive, and it's like I'm in neutral. Car's not going anywhere, and I tried it over and over again. Nothing is happening. And so I quickly realized I've got to be up there real soon. I call a friend. That friend says, hey, I'll pick you up. So got to ride up there, and I thought I'll deal with this when I get back. And the one thing that could happen to my car, though, is I could actually shift it into reverse. I was able to shift it into reverse, so I backed it into my driveway and went on this trip and had a great experience up there and came home on Sunday afternoon. And whether it was that night or the next night, I can't quite remember, I was starting to deal with the reality that I need to get my car fixed. And so I was looking at the whole situation, and there's a shop about 3/4 of a mile from my house that I wanted to go to. And I really did not want to pay the $150 to $200 to get it towed. I don't know if any of y'all are like that, but I don't want to deal with that. That's money not well spent. I just could not fathom that. So I was like, I got to figure out how to get my car there. And I couldn't drive it forward, but you see where I'm going. I could drive it backwards. So I had to figure out how to do this. So I thought, I can't do this in broad daylight. It would not go well for me. So I waited until everyone was asleep, including my wife, because I wasn't telling her what I was going to do. My children were asleep. I think I put on some dark clothes, and I snuck out of the house and got into my car. And I sat there, and I realized I had a problem because it was facing the wrong way. My car's facing forward towards the street. I had to turn it around somehow before I could even get to the street. And again, I can only go in reverse. So I have to figure out how to do this. I can't do it in my driveway. I can't do it in my yard there because it's not big enough. But I have a little gap. If I back further down my driveway, take a little turn to the right, I can go to the side of my garage and the neighbor's fence. I can fit through that, and I can get in my backyard. And then I can drive backwards around my backyard and face the right direction, then actually backwards, coming back out, and then I can drive down there. So I go and I try to do this, right? I back all the way into my backyard, and you think about the craziness of this, how just not smart this is, because if anything goes wrong, if I have to suddenly readjust or a tree suddenly gets in the way, there's no changing that, right? I can't go forward to remaneuver. And then I've got to get a tow truck back, and just imagine trying to explain that to the tow truck driver, right? Why is your car in the backyard? So, but fortunately, through being very careful and very accurate, I was able to navigate my backyard. I went back into my driveway, and I finally got to the street, right? And I turn onto the street. It's like 1 a.m. in the morning, pitch dark out, and I start going backwards down the street, and I'm very uncomfortable, right? This is not normal, Sane people don't do this. My wife said, you will do anything to save a buck, right? And so I'm driving backwards down the street, and I'm terrified I'm gonna hit a mailbox, or heaven help if somebody's out walking at that hour. And I'm going 3, 4, 5 miles an hour. I get to the end of my street, I turn onto another side street, and I'm backing down this slowly. And soon enough, I get to the place where there's no turning back, which is Rochester Road. All right, I get to Rochester Road, and I've got about a 1/4 of a mile. It took me 20 minutes just to get there. I've got a 1/4 of a mile to navigate down to Bell Tire. That's where I got to go. Got to head south on Rochester Road. So I sit there at the light, right? And I'm waiting, and I turned green, and it didn't look good, so I just waited. Then it turned red, green, red. I sat there for 5 minutes because what I wanted to make sure nobody was coming north or south. I wanted to see people as far away as possible. And so finally, there's nobody coming, and I turn onto Rochester Road heading south, and I'm going 3, 4, 5 miles an hour. I'm being as careful as I can. And soon enough, though, what do I see? Coming from Hamlin Road, coming south on the road, is another car coming right at me, right? And I'm trying to go fast, but I'm not that comfortable. So as I'm backing up, here comes this car, and I'm just thinking to myself, please don't be a cop. Please don't be a cop. Please don't be a cop. Because I'm imagining the conversation, right? he's going to ask me to step out of the car, and I'm going to have to say my ABCs backwards, which I can't do anytime. And so, anyway, I'm backing up, and this car is coming up to me. And finally, I get into Bell Tire, and I swerve into Bell Tire, and the car slowly goes by me. It's not a police officer. And you can just see the guy rolling the window down. He's like, "What are you doing?" And I park into Bell Tire, and I get up. I was like, yes, I did it. I made it, and I'm so happy, doing a little dance right there. And I'm not kidding you, coming northbound, just 30 seconds after I get out of my car, is an Oakland County sheriff, and he just kept on going right on by. I was like, woo! I did the happy dance all the way home at 2 a.m, so excited. But going backwards in life is never easy, is it? Because we're all trained to go forward. We're all trained to go one direction. It starts when we're young. Even in school, right? We need to do well in class. We need to be liked by other kids. We want to be good at sports so we can get on the right teams. We want to get in the right classes so that when we are in high school, we get good enough grades and we do well enough there and have all these achievements underneath us so that colleges take notice of us. And so we keep moving forward, right? And we get into college and we do as good as we can, right? And we try to get the best grades and get the degree we want and need. Why? So that we can be successful out in the workplace, and we can get that job that brings us satisfaction and probably money as well, and we can get a house and car and these things and start building a retirement account, right? And have vacations that are so wonderful and glamorous. And then we have children, and then it starts all over again because we want them to do well in school, and we want them to be on the right teams and progress all the way through, and around and around and around we go. We have been trained with this mindset that facing forward, going forward is such a good thing. But every once in a while, we encounter someone who's living a little counterculturally. They're doing things different. And we scratch our heads a little bit and we think, wow, that's a little odd. That's a crazy move in life, but we maybe respect it, but we think, gosh, I don't think I could ever do that. I've known a lot of guys and girls as well, people who have left jobs, left the corporate world and said goodbye to salaries and status and all those things in their profession, and they've come to even work here or in other ministry areas or even gone into missions, and they've left that behind, and people think, wow, that's different. That doesn't quite seem to make sense. I've seen people leave suburbs and nice, safe homes where their kids play with all sorts of other kids that look exactly like them, and they move down into the city, into the inner city environments, into neighborhoods where they see they can have an impact, and they start to love and care for those communities. You think, wow, that's amazing, but wow, that's definitely different, isn't it? And then we look at the life of a man that we've all heard about, that we're celebrating his birth literally in three weeks. And several thousand years ago, he comes onto the scene, and it was a backwards arrival, so to speak, because people were preparing. As we look at the Old Testament scriptures, we look at what authors of the Old Testament, the prophets, predicted about a man coming into the world, a great king. They were expecting, they wanted great things, but even there were a few predictions of a man coming in a very humble setting. And they missed those, though, for whatever reason. Everybody wanted a great king to come into the world to be their savior. They pictured riches and gold and probably a sword, and they were going to cut down enemies, right? And yet this baby arrives on the scene, humble, in a manger, born in poverty. And this wasn't the storyline that people were expecting. It felt backwards for what they wanted and what they were hoping for. And so this little baby grows up, and we don't have a lot of information. We don't read a ton about what his life was like when he was younger. We know that in Luke 2:52, the writer talks about how he grew. And he grew in wisdom, in his mind, in his stature with his body, and in favor with God, and favor with man as he built relationships all around him. And news started to circle as this guy became in his early 30s, probably 30 years old, actually. He started to actually go out and start his ministry, his job, so to speak. And he went out and he started to teach, and he started to gather people around him to ask him to follow him, his disciples. And there was a buzz about who he was and what he did, and people were getting really, really curious. But he hadn't quite arrived on the scene yet. He hadn't had his big debut moment. And so his big debut moment comes about on a mountain. It's a chance for him to talk to thousands of people at this point because it's just everything converged. And this was it. This was the release. This was the opportunity to hear what this guy was all about. And when you have this moment when everybody's gathered around, you want to make an impression. The first words, what you're going to say is going to be about who you are and what you're about, and you want them to get you, right? You want them to embrace you, and so people are bracing for this, the most famous sermon of all time. And this is what he opens with. The writer in Matthew, the man Matthew, captured the words, and this is how he starts the whole thing. He says this, blessed, this is what Jesus says, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. You can almost see people like, huh? Leaning in a little bit, trying to understand what he's saying. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And blessed are you when people insult you and persecute you and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Because what people were expecting was, they were expecting a list of to-dos, things you have to do that God is going to be in approval of, ways to make yourself better, a self-do list, an improvement checklist, so to speak. That's what they were ready for. How do we gain more favor with God? What are the steps we need to have? And then Jesus delivers this, a whole entire backwards philosophy talking about the poor and the humble and the meek and the merciful, and not talking about outward things, but talking about what's on the inside of the heart. And people are starting to realize that there's a backwards mentality going on, because what he's doing is he's taking those who want so desperately to be at the front of the line, and he's now telling them, well, actually, you're not at the front of the line anymore, you're at the back. Growing up, there were those days where everyone would be told to get in line. We probably all had this. And children, you're in the room today. We're so glad you're here. But you know this. Your teacher tells you to get in line. And how do you get in line? You get in line alphabetically, right? A to Z. And I'm sure if you're an A, B, or C last name, you just felt lucky, right? You were the blessed ones in this world. Anybody have an A, B, or C last name out there? You are always in the front, most likely, right? You're smiling. You're so happy. Yes, I'm great. Any Y's or Z's out there right now? Are there some of you? I had a few people literally, they have their head down as they were raising it in the last couple services, right? It's kind of led to this mentality I'm always last. But then there are those days, those wonderful days, and they were few and far between, where the backwards line day would show up. And the Z's would get to go first. And the A's had to go at the end of the line. And so the Aguilars and Buchanans that I grew up with, it was so great because all of the Z's, the Ziegler that was at the end of the line, suddenly he gets to go first on this one day and everybody else at the end. I am moral, M. It meant nothing for me at all, right? There was no good in that day for me. But every once in a while, things would change. Jesus talks about how things are changing permanently in his kingdom. A little later on, the writer Matthew records this in 20 verse 16 in his book. He says this, he says, the last shall be first, and the first shall be last. And Jesus delivers this line. He recorded Jesus saying that. He delivers this line after talking about, people would give gifts and think, wow, God, I'm so good, thank you. So they would give gifts not because they were being generous, but because they wanted to be noticed for what they were doing in the world. And Jesus was spinning that around, turning the line around on them as he turned it around all the time in his life. And it's one thing to have somebody talk about these things, but it's an entire other deal to have somebody actually go and live it out, to see somebody actually in the flesh make this happen in their lives. We all, as parents in this room, we've probably challenged our kids to do certain things and to live a certain way, and they're watching us, and they know when it's not authentic. They know when it's not happening. And Jesus lived this life. And then after his death, a man comes along by the name of Paul, formerly known as Saul, and he hated anything to do with Jesus, wanted nothing to do with him. He persecuted, he killed Christians. He was a leader. He was moving forward in his life, climbing the ladder, so to speak, trying to get fame and recognition for what he was doing. And that was really about hating Christians, putting his name first. And so he has an encounter with Jesus, though, on the road to Damascus, and everything changes for him. And the direction he is going absolutely changes 180 degrees. And now he's moving in a completely different direction, really backwards in his life. And this is what he says in Philippians 2, 5-8. He writes this about Jesus. He says, in your relationships with one another, have the same mindset as Christ Jesus, who being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant and being made in human likeness. And being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient to death, even death on a cross. And so what Paul is doing is he's reframing how the world works in regards to Jesus and what it was like for Jesus, so to speak. Because Jesus is at the very top of the ladder. We in this room, we all understand what it means to climb a ladder. We're climbing ladders in our life. You in school, you guys are climbing a ladder to do well in school, get better grades, and move on to the next levels of your life. And if you're an adult in this room, you're trying to climb the ladder, most likely with your career and with your bank account and all of these things. We're all trying to climb up something in life. And so Jesus is sitting all the way at the very top of the ladder. He's sitting at the right hand of God. We all have goals. We're all challenged to have goals in our life. Where do you want to be in 5 years, in 20 years, 30 years, right? Jesus was there. There was nowhere else for him to go. And he could have just passed along and just struggled into retirement, sitting at the right hand of God for all of eternity in a wonderful way. There's no reason why he wanted to have left that. And nor would you or I really ever want to leave the comforts and the life that he would have there. But this is what we start to read. And he's clear at the top, but I just can't get myself to go up all the way to the top right now. So this is what we read, though. He says this, but rather, after standing at the top, he says he made himself nothing. And he takes a step down. And then another one, it says, by taking the very nature of a servant. Think about it. If you picture a king or a queen, they have servants, right? He's now becoming a servant. It's at a completely different level in hierarchy, moving from the top all the way to the bottom, all right? By taking the nature of a servant and being made in human likeness and being found in appearance as a human being, it then says he humbled himself. He's taking another step down. And then it says by becoming obedient to death. And not just death, but a horrific death. Death on a cross. And dying in a way that no one could imagine and would never even want to fathom experiencing themselves. And he did this, and he set an example for us. One, because he wants to save us. But two, because of how he wants us to live our lives. Not forward, but backward. I want to share this picture real quick of an image for us of what it looks like to be Jesus in this world and in our relationships. This is a picture of a rescue worker. Several years ago, somewhere on the eastern seaboard, I believe maybe Philadelphia or even New York City, a bus flipped over and there was an older woman that was trapped underneath it. And this rescue worker came along and saw her. It was written up in Time magazine, and he saw her feet literally sticking out from underneath the vehicle. And he got down and he saw that she was alive, that she was breathing, but she was scared out of her mind. And she begged him, she begged someone to be with her, to stay with her. So he gets on his stomach and he belly crawls in to see her. And at that moment, as you can see her hands, they grasp hold of his, and they will not let him go. And there he remained. And probably broke every rule for any rescue worker who, again, you want to take care of someone, but you also need to take care of yourself first. And he surrendered his comfort and his security so he could stay there with her while the other workers got hydraulic lifts underneath a several-ton bus that could fall at any moment and crush and end his life. And jacked that thing up so that they could safely pull these people out. And this is what Jesus did in the world. He could have stood back in a safe, serene spot, but he got down all the way down to where we are and came to be and live and love and die for us so that we may have life. It's a backwards way. So as you leave here today, the question is this, is how do you live the backwards way? How does that take place? One of the inspirations, and Maren mentions at the very beginning, that came for this week and the next 2 weeks, which Dave and Cody are going to dive into this even deeper. It comes from a book called Small Cloud Rising by Dave Gibbons. It's a whole concept of what if the church wasn't confined to a piece of land? And so many people, we come here today and we want to feel good, and this is great, and we check it off list. It's so wonderful to be inside a building, and we feel good being here. But God never intended for us just to stay in this. He intended, and he didn't intend the church just to function once a week for an hour here. It's about what happens outside of here. And that is a picture of it, of the love and the sacrifice, leaving a life, leaving a comfortable area and going out into the world. What does it look like for you? And I wrote these things down here for you to think about in your life. I said, what does the backwards life look like for you? Here's one. Could it be serving rather than being served? Giving rather than receiving? Apologizing rather than waiting for the other person to apologize first? Feeding rather than being fed? Freeing rather than manipulating? Sacrificing rather than surviving? And building up rather than tearing down? And finally, sometimes living backwards means stopping. Because we're all on a path, we all have things to do, and there's an appointment for us with someone we just passed in a hallway, somebody who's sitting on a street side, somebody who we see every day and we aren't even acknowledging. And sometimes we have to turn around and go backwards and have the conversation with them that God is calling us to have, even just to say, how are you? It's a backwards way. It's a backwards life that he's calling us to. I want to call up some friends right now, Quinn and Layla. They're going to share with us how this whole backwards journey, actually Quinn's going to share how this journey has impacted him, because you guys got to memorize something, right? Yes. Yeah, so Quinn's going to challenge us, and be ready because he's pretty real right now. It's awesome. Quinn, take it away, buddy.
Galatians 5:14, I'm going to do a memory verse for you, and it comes from the Bible. Repeat after me. My friends.
My friends.
You are chosen to be free.
You are chosen to be free.
So don't use your freedom as an excuse to do anything you want.
So don't use your freedom as an excuse to do anything you want.
Use it as an opportunity to serve each other with love.
Use it as an opportunity to serve each other with love. Good job. You did it. Galatians 5:13. He's gone. Not a glory hound, that one at all. That's great. I couldn't remember it long enough. I had to turn and read it. That's how short my memory was. He did such a great job. All right, Layla, you're going to pray for us right now, right?
Yes.
All right, why don't you do that? Everybody, let's bow our heads.
Okay. Father God, we come to you saying thank you. Thank you for waking us up this morning and start us on our way. I ask that you protect everybody that is in Kensington Church right now, and protect others, and protect the people who are sick and shut in and that can't find a home and that don't have any food or family to go home to. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, kiddo. All right, get a high five? All right. Well, as the children come out, we are going to close with a song called Miracle Worker. And it's a great, and there's going to be another one for us as well following that. But as the children lead us in this, I just want to say this, is we can't do this alone. You can try to go backwards, but you're going to face forward at some point because your self's going to kick in at some point. And it's only through the grace and love of Jesus and asking him to assist us through that moment that we're able to do it. And so this song is going to lead us into that. So what we want to ask you to do is, if you would be willing to stand up and let these children lead and worship and sing along with them as you get a chance to worship yourself.
Even
know you all know. It's John 3:16. For God so loved the world.
Sing this out with us.
For God so loved the world that He gave His only Son. Whosoever believes will not perish, they shall have eternal life. I shall hold to the cross. I shall hold to God alone. For His love has salvaged me. For His love has set me free. For God so loved the world that He gave His only Son. Whosoever believes will not perish, they shall have eternal life. I shall wait upon the Lord. I shall wait upon His word, and by His grace I am released, and by His grace I am redeemed. For God so loved the world that He gave His only Son, and whosoever believes will not perish, they shall have eternal life. Oh, He gave it all. Oh, He gave it all on the cross. By His precious blood, I have been set free for the glory of Jesus' name. I surrender all now to Christ the Lord. In Jesus' by His precious blood, I have been set free for the glory of Jesus' name. I surrender all now to Christ the Lord. In Jesus' I am saved. So loved the world that He gave His only Son. Whosoever believes will not perish, they shall have eternal life. Yes, they shall have eternal life.
Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, thank you for these children. Thank you for using them and reminding us continually through them of your kingdom. And it's different than maybe the way we like to build it in our own minds. So this season, Lord, the next few weeks, Lord, I pray that there can be a shift for each of us, for whatever you're speaking to us today. Help us listen, be sensitive, be aware to what your voice is calling us to and how to live with people around us and where you're taking us. Maybe it's a direction we weren't expecting. We love you. We thank you so much. And it's in your name we pray. Amen. Hey, as we go, I just want to say, let's give it up for these children one more time. Amazing. Get up here. Come on up here. Come on, let's go. Can you guys give a huge round of applause to this woman right here, their director. You inspire me. You really do. Your energy and love and your leadership. So thank you so much for all you have done and all the staff that are a part of this. I can't say all of you, but I know you're around in here, and thank you for kicking out. If you have children that would like to be a part of this, there's signups out in the lobby, right? Following service, they start January 30th. And online as well. Some of you today, you might just need to pray about something going on in your life. We'll have people up here afterwards. And Christmas is coming 3 weeks from now. Get your tickets and invite. We'd love to see that happen. Thank you so much for coming out today and celebrating with us. And enjoy your day. We'll see you Wednesday night at midweek. Take care.